Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 2 of Game Talk. I'm your host, Ahmed Mian, and this week I'm joined by President of the WVU Game Developers Club, Jordan Hallow.
Hello.
And Vice President of the WVU Game Developers Club, Destiny Dunn.
Hi.
Game Talk is your weekly dose of relevant and hot game topics. This week we're going to start the discussion off by talking about the Nintendo Switch. Now, just kind of a preamble, the Nintendo Switch came out March 3rd. It's been out for a little over a couple weeks now. Really great sales. Zelda, obviously, is the big title. Just wanted to get your guys' opinions on it. I know, Jordan, you have a Switch.
Yeah.
Destiny, you probably are going to get a Switch at some point.
Eventually.
So, yeah, Jordan, how are you liking your Switch?
I wish I had more time to play it, honestly. But so far, I think it's really good. A lot of the stuff I've been reading about sales is looking really promising. They just announced they were going to do double their production for the next year.
And I don't know how reliable this is, but I read yesterday that GameStop came out and said that from their data, it's looking like it could eclipse the Wii. That's really far-fetched.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I trust that, but the message is just generally that it's doing really well.
Yeah. I know I've been waiting a little bit waiting a little bit longer for the Switch. Just waiting for a couple more titles and things to come out for it.
Right. The launch lineup is, without Zelda, the launch lineup would absolutely suck.
But no, I would have to disagree.
Okay. What are you playing at launch?
Snipper Clips. Fast RMX.
How many hours were you going to put into Snipper Clips, though?
A ton. I might replay the same levels. Just introducing the concept of the Switch to different people, I think, is one of the main things that, brings me to that title.
Okay. Yeah, maybe I came on a bit strong there. I have enjoyed 1-2 Switch, and with various friend groups and stuff. They've all found it really fun.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of my friends aren't too into video games, so when I showed them 1-2 Switch, they thought it was a really cool, just a fun kind of activity. It's not really even a video game in the traditional sense. It's just a collection of little games. So, yeah, in that sense, it's not the worst. It's no 3DS launch lineup, but it's no...
I think I just love the social aspect of it because, the past 2 weeks, I've just been bringing my Switch to my social entrepreneurship class, and we always start class late now because we're all just laughing at each other playing Snipper Clips.
That's another great thing. That Nintendo kind of just capitalized on the fact that it's a console and a handheld, and it's seamless between the two. When they first announced it, I was just like, okay, yeah, that's a great idea, but how is Nintendo actually going to deliver on it? And they completely delivered on it. It's a very sleek product.
Yeah.
I know there's been one of the things that I'm really excited for with the Switch. There's been rumors of them porting GameCube games to it.
Right, yeah.
And it's immediately sold for Mario Sunshine.
Mario Sunshine, could you imagine if they redid Super Smash Bros. Melee, HD reskinned it and put it on the Switch? So many rabid fanboys would buy the Switch,
I think a lot of people has already bought the Switch hoping.
Right. No, it's a rumor, but I think it's true. I think that we're going to see a GameCube Virtual Console. And
I think there's just so much more to their online right now. Right now, there's hardly anything on it right now, and they're just trying to get all the kinks out, I think, before they unveil it.
Right, it doesn't even have
something.
an internet browser right now.
Wow.
Well, it does.
Okay, it technically does, but most people
But
can't
you've seen
access
that as
it.
hacker videos. And
Right. No Netflix app, which is,
it's a games console.
You shrug, but a lot of people watch Netflix through their games consoles. It's a selling
I'd
point.
agree with that. Half my PlayStation friends list is on Netflix
Exactly,
or YouTube.
Yeah. So the Switch came out. It's doing great, right? Let's kind of broaden the conversation to Nintendo. Nintendo is an interesting beast in the gaming industry. Their main consoles' lifetime sales have decreased console after console, with the Wii being the one anomaly, selling more than any other video game console, except maybe the PS2. Maybe I have to check the numbers on that.
PS2 is still the top, yeah.
I think this is going to buck the trend, though. I can't see the Switch performing worse than the Wii U. Can you?
It depends how many of these PlayStation and Xbox gamers buy one, I think, as well. Because after these first few months, Nintendo always does really well selling to their own fans. It'll be interesting to see how many casual players and how much of the Wii audience actually upgrades to a Switch.
That's a great point, and I also want to bring up the point of the lapsed Nintendo fan, because I feel like a lot of people who are Nintendo fans and fans of nothing else have felt kind of, I don't want to say like gypped, but just not enthused by the Wii U, and I think the
Yeah.
Switch is going to bring back a lot of those people.
I know.
I can't tell you the
Yeah.
amount of sorry to interrupt, Destiny, but I was just going to say I can't tell you the amount of comments I've read online saying that Breath of the Wild is some people's first Zelda game after Ocarina of Time. And, like, a lot of people who haven't even, kept up with the latest gaming consoles got a Switch just for Breath of the Wild. And just, like, little comments like that, I think, I don't know, I guess what I'm saying is the Switch is bringing in a lot of people that previous Nintendo consoles didn't have the power to bring in.
You could also look at the fact of how popular Pokemon Go was, and that introduced Pokemon to the community. So there's a chance if they bring Pokemon back and put it on the Switch, there's a chance that it will go to, that will even increase people's interest in the Switch.
Right. Yeah, Pokemon on the Switch, I mean, if you want to talk about an instant, tens of millions of units, I mean, that's the way to do it. I mean,
Yeah.
Did you see the news report yesterday? They're hiring developers for a RPG Game Freak is. on
Oh,
the
really?
Switch,
I didn't see
and
that.
They haven't, they
That's
didn't
really
explicitly
exciting.
say it, but I mean, how many other RPGs is Game Freak working on?
right.
I know
They're
there's
finally
been,
going
like,
to bite.
hints.
Yeah, they're finally going to bite the bullet and do it.
Well, there's 2 job postings right now.
That's really exciting. So, Zelda, right? So besides Zelda, have you been? You mentioned Zelda and Snipperclips. Have you been playing
Fast
anything else?
RMX is great as well.
I've heard good things about it.
And I'm also one of those people that got a Japanese account and downloaded some of the free Japanese demos. So
Oh,
I did
okay.
Tetris and Dragon Quest, I believe.
Ooh,
I
yeah.
was never really into Dragon Quest, but Tetris is actually really hard in Japanese. You wouldn't think that.
Is it not the same game?
It's competition based, so like the other players like taunting me in Japanese, and I'm not sure exactly what's going on because I keep losing. I've won 1 game of Tetris out of 50, which is kind of sad.
Oh my
I
gosh.
feel like the people who are playing Tetris on the Switch really play Tetris, though. They don't fool around.
Yeah.
At that point, it's a lifestyle. I know I'm really excited for some of the indie games coming out as well.
Yeah, I heard their indie showcase was pretty strong. I mean, they're putting like really popular, fun games like Duck Game on the Switch, and just the ability of the Joy-Cons to just snap off the console, and like it's an instant 2-player experience, like with one console, which is kind of a neat feature, like just getting the Switch out of the box.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, it's just fun to like have it in public and snap the controllers off when you're in, handheld mode.
Right.
And those people have never seen it before. Just seeing the look
Yeah,
on their
I
face.
mean, just the general impressions I get, everyone's sort of impressed, and it's like, ooh, what is that? That's really cool. Like, oh, it has a touchscreen? That's awesome, it's a neat device for sure.
I know I don't have the Switch, but you guys have played with the Switch. Have you felt the sensations of HD Rumble?
yes.
I actually have, okay, so, funny thing, when I saw Nintendo's press conference, I was like, what? This is a load of crap, like, HD Rumble, come on. I mean, it's just Rumble. But it's actually real. Like, when you play 1-2 Switch, like, one of the games has you, like, rolling around a container that has, like, several little metal balls in it, right? And the game is to guess how many metal balls are in the container. And if you, like, tilt it just right, you can feel each individual, ball rolling around in the container. And it's crazy that they could emulate something like that through Rumble. I was very impressed by it.
I've heard some people think it's not very accurate. Do you think it's accurate to the number?
I think it's pretty accurate. I mean, I can accurately predict what's rolling around in there.
Okay.
And I don't know, it's just, it does a good job of emulating real life,
Balls.
like, emulating real life balls. I was going to say, emulating, like, feeling in real life, the sensation of touch. But yeah, it emulates the balls pretty well.
I wish they'd have like an actual tech demo that shipped with it that you could do, like the Ice Cube thing they showed in the reveal trailer.
You know what? 1-2 Switch should have been a pack-in game.
I agree with that. Like,
I'm slightly ashamed that I spent like $40, $50 on that.
How much did you spend on it?
I think 40 or
50?
50. I think it was.
It's
I think it was
MSRP 50, but it
Yeah.
was 40 on Amazon the first 2
Yeah.
weeks if you had Prime.
Well, I got mine from Toys R Us. I can't remember the exact price, but
I know the scary thing is it's a Nintendo game, so it probably won't drop that much in price for a while.
Right. Yeah, that's unfortunate. I mean, I think if they're smart in the fall, maybe around Black Friday, they'll offer like a Wii or what am I saying? I was going to say Wii U, a Switch bundle with 1-2 Switch packed in. But
They'll
you
probably
know,
pack in Mario Kart and Mario Odyssey is probably what they.
Mario Kart would be
do.
the smart thing to do. Mario Kart, I think, moves more, sells more than any other Nintendo franchise.
Really?
I kind of want to. Yeah, I think that's true.
I was going to say Pokemon. Well, I know Mario's more
Well,
top selling.
Nintendo. So, Pokemon's Game Freak, right? So,
Yeah.
but like strictly Nintendo first party, I think Mario Kart does it.
I'm not sure about that.
I know Mario.
You can check me after the show.
Fact check later.
Yeah. I mean, we can't really do it right now.
You could throw in a post edit.
The Splatoon demo is this weekend. Are you interested in that?
Yeah, I've never played Splatoon.
I haven't
actually,
either,
so
but I'm suddenly.
I've heard a lot of good
that's
things.
another thing too. Like I'm suddenly way more interested in video games. I know that's kind of a broad statement because of the Switch. Just it lifts like a weird layer of stress off, thinking that like, oh, I have to actually sit down in front of my TV and dedicate time to something, whereas you
Right.
can just pick it up and bring it with you wherever you want to go. It's just feels more like pulling out your cell phone and doing something quickly on that and then putting it away,
Yeah.
which I think makes gaming easier.
Me personally, I've never been able to get into handhelds as much because I feel like they're not as an immersive experience as consoles have traditionally been. And with the Switch, I think that just completely flips that opinion around.
I mean, absolutely. It's a console and a handheld. You get a slightly higher resolution or whatever when you dock Zelda, but
Right.
I wouldn't say like 95% the exact same experience, which I have to give it to Nintendo. That's really impressive that they were able to do that.
I know, speaking of more rumors, but I know there's been some rumors that Nintendo might try to make it into a VR machine as well.
Yeah, Matt Patton game theory.
I mean, I think I read that they were looking into that during development, and I think someone issued a statement that VR is not yet a viable market. Like, it doesn't have enough of the market share for Nintendo to seriously consider it. Which, I mean, they're right, but I also think they're making a mistake because I do think that VR is going to really permeate the market in a big way. And I mean, it hasn't happened yet, but you see more and more developers working on VR. You see a greater shift of like the mainstream gaming, consciousness to VR. So I think that's the direction we're headed in, and I think it'd be wise to invest in that.
If they invested in it and made it a machine for everything, it's a handheld, it's a console and a VR portable machine, like I feel like they could kill the market for it.
All right.
This morning I read about there's this rumor that they're going to put a 4K adapter onto the dock.
That's not.
So
I'd
have to say, as far as the VR rumor, yes, it's in the patent, but Nintendo doesn't always use everything in the patents. Look at the Wii Vitality sensor.
I mean,
do you remember that?
Yeah, right. No, like
where it
patents,
tracks your heartbeat. That just died.
Patents are filed all the time.
Sure.
They're by no means binding. Maybe
We
that's
just know
not the
they've
right
thought
word,
about it, and that's a good sign. They're headed in the right direction
Right.
with that potentially.
And I think that's kind of a good segue into our second topic, which is VR, virtual reality. I think I'm the only one with a VR headset.
Google
at this
Cardboard. Does
table.
Google Cardboard count?
Okay.
I have like 10 of those.
Well,
The
I was
gear,
thinking PSVR, Vive, and Oculus is what I came to mind. Is real VR,
Real
real VR.
pretentious VR. Yeah. No, but it's one of those things that you really have to see to believe. I tell people that, and they're just like, "What are you talking about? You just put a screen on your head, and that's it." I'm like, "No, you have to try it out. It's a completely immersive, next level experience that fundamentally changes how you interact with a video game, which I think is extremely important, and a great step for the industry as a whole." Sad thing is, it doesn't seem like it's really taken off yet. I do hope developers keep pushing it, maybe eating some of the cost on it, because I think that if you introduce it into the mainstream consciousness, it can do nothing but bring the gaming industry up and bring up other industries as well. Like virtual tourism. It has such potential for applications outside of gaming as well, and I think that's really neat.
I'm very skeptical at this point.
I mean, I can definitely see why you'd say that because it hasn't resonated yet with the market.
Yeah, it could be the best thing since sliced bread, but if it doesn't sell, if there's not a huge,
No,
look at 3D
I agree with you.
TVs. Look how long they were pushing that, and they kind of just, where are they?
Fizzled
this
out.
year?
Yeah. Do you have any thoughts, Dustin?
I was just thinking about like the experience, like when you first put on a VR headset, and others see you doing something in
Right.
VR. It's always just so awesome. You get to a point where it's an experience, even though you're like with one person, or you might be with a group of people, but one person has their own. They're seeing one thing, and then you get to watch them like struggle do something like this. It's interactive, and just everyone's like, "Oh, I want to try it next." And
I've shown it to friends before who are like completely into the game, and then they just randomly like turn around and say, "Are you guys still here?" Because they just don't know, like you're completely immersed in your own experience, which is cool. Also kind of scary, If I was playing a VR game, someone could walk into my room and rob everything I own, and I wouldn't know until I took the headset off. But as far as an experience goes, there's nothing else like it.
I know one of my first experiences with the gear, though, I wore it for like 20-30 minutes, and I know personally I got really nauseous, like seasick feeling. I don't know if you guys have had any of those feelings before.
Yes.
It can happen. I think you can kind of build up tolerance to it because the more I've used my headset, the better I've felt about it. It also depends on the game you're playing, but that's definitely a problem that needs to be addressed.
I think,
And they've come a long way since the first Oculus. Higher refresh rates,
Right.
bigger screen area within the headset, I think, has helped with that a little bit. But I think there's more potential, and AR needs to become mainstream before VR can. And there's so much, look at Snapchat, that's AR. If you think about it, all those filters in the pictures and stuff. And their IPO was 2 weeks ago, and it was a lot better than a lot of people thought it was going to be.
Right.
So that looks really good for AR. And Pokemon Go, even though it's kind of fizzled out, it was a huge thing. So there's a lot of potential for AR games as well, I think. And that
There
works.
is,
It
yeah,
works
for
with
sure.
the thing with AR too is it can work on any phone anybody has right now. VR, you have to buy a headset. That hardware
Right.
barrier is
Yeah.
really going to prevent that until
They-
they can make that as affordable as the
It
phone,
needs to be more
or package it with it somehow.
ubiquitous, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We're kind of an interesting juncture as far as VR is concerned. Everyone was kind of hyping it up to be the next big thing. It came out and it did reasonably well, but it hasn't really penetrated the mainstream consciousness yet.
yeah. I think a lot of people look at it and just look at the price tag and go, well, maybe not this year
Right.
or any time near until it's down to a viable price.
I could see VR fizzling out like motion control personally. Like look at Microsoft and Sony copied off of the Wii's success with
Yeah.
Kinect and the PlayStation Move controller, and I guess you still use those in the VR, right?
You use the Move controllers, yeah,
Yeah.
for the PSVR. No, I totally understand that, and I could also, if that happened, it wouldn't surprise me because I could totally see that as a possibility.
Yeah.
I personally believe though that it will take some time, but I think VR is here to stay, and I don't think it's going to shift gaming. How do I want to say this? So, like, I still think that maybe in 10 years, like, on the PlayStation 6, Xbox 4, or whatever, you're still going to be using a traditional controller and a screen, right? But now the VR will be an additional way to play a game, It'll be something else that can coexist with traditional game playing means.
Yeah, I don't see it fizzling out per se, like the motion controls. I feel like it'll be an addition to someone's shelf. They'll have it with, some games might have VR, some games might not. But I also agree with Jordan. I think AR needs to hit it off before VR will take off entirely with the mainstream.
Amit, are you seeing these future games having both modes, or is this going to depend on the game?
It'll definitely depend on the game. I don't think it's wise for a
you
game
saying
to be
that
required to have a VR mode and a normal mode.
Yeah, that was
like-
what came to my mind.
Yeah,
was
yeah,
the
no.
headache of developing something like that.
That's a terrible idea. But I do think VR experiences will still be relevant years from now. And here's why. Because I think VR's application beyond the gaming space is what's going to keep it around and what's going to keep it relevant. I mean, think of like the advances you can make in like deep sea exploration and observation. You know, you stick a robot down there, have a VR headset on, and kind of control it and look around and kind of observe as if you're actually on the ocean floor, which is a huge deal. Same thing with space exploration.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's going to be a time delay if you're on Mars with a robot, but
It's like 30 minutes right now, I think, isn't it?
I think it's 8 minutes.
I thought.
We
We don't
can-
know anything about space. This isn't the space
Right, yeah,
podcast.
I think it's 8 minutes from Earth to Mars. I watched The Martian. Okay, so
No. Well,
right.
I think that. Oh yeah, because that's 100% scientifically accurate.
you'd be surprised. It's
Actual.
more accurate than a lot of
Jurassic
people give it
Park?
credit for.
Yeah, well, they
I mean,
do have
Jurassic Park.
consultants for that, which I think
Right.
is awesome. They've been doing Hollywood's been doing a lot to make those more realistic.
But anyway, the point is, the applications of VR beyond gaming, I think, make it more relevant than other kind of spin-offs like motion controls and, you know, whatever the Kinect was.
I personally see like the motion controls and Kinect being, you know, technology we would use with VR. Like the motion controls are already used with the PSVR, and I can see like, oh, you know, how interesting would it be to attach VR with motion controls like the Kinect. So you would have no controllers and they'd almost be able to see your movement like that. Even.
Yeah. I guess to just sort of wrap it up, where do you see VR going? To each of you, this is posed to each of you. Where do you see VR going, and do you ever see yourself taking the plunge into VR? Jordan, you first.
Oh, okay. It has to become a lot more affordable.
Yeah.
And there has to be a drought of Switch games because I'm on that at the moment.
Right.
I personally, yeah, it definitely has to be more affordable or I need to make more money. One of the two.
All right. So the consensus seems to be a cheaper VR solution will make it more palatable.
I have a question for you. You have
Sure.
VR. Is there a steady stream of games that keep you using it?
It does feel like that there's kind of a drought of like major games, but there
Mhm.
has been a pretty steady stream of smaller games released. The last big title I can think of is Resident Evil Biohazard.
Okay.
I don't have it, but I know it's like a full like 8 to 10 hour, AAA experience,
Mhm.
however you want to take that. And you can play the entirety of it in VR, which I think is really cool. But yeah, the VR games thus far have been kind of bite-sized, but I'm completely okay with that. I don't want to be in there for like 6 hours at a time, then like come out and question what is real, you know. So I'm satisfied with my VR so far, but I feel like I'm definitely kind of. I think the people that have it are satisfied, but the people that don't kind of see it as too much of a money sink for what they're getting.
I think the early adapters just try to tell themselves that to make them feel better about that.
That's a fair point too. No. I will say though that I've actually
Yeah,
go
I was
ahead,
going to
Destiny.
say, I do have a question, not so much on the player side, but as the developer side for you guys. Do you think you would ever see yourself developing a game for VR within the future, like the near
Personally,
future?
I absolutely would, and I think that's very exciting because I still am kind of entranced by the fact that it's a completely new way to play a game. So I would love to do VR development personally. What about you, Jordan?
It has to become. There needs to be a larger user base. I keep saying that, I feel like, but I don't know if it's worth the money. I've read horror stories about these startups that have tried to make VR games and they just go bankrupt because they can't, no one
Right.
to sell their product to. They just run out of money.
I mean, not so much in the selling point, but I would love to be able to tinker around with something and create a different user experience, even if it wasn't on the level of a startup.
Yeah, I've done a few things with Google Cardboard, and it was kind of fun, but the novelty kind of wore off for me, personally.
All right. I'll have to let you guys try the PSVR at some point so you can experience real VR. Okay, on that note, let's move on to our final topic, which is achievements. Okay, I know you and I, Jordan, come down on opposite ends of this. I don't know where you stand, Destiny, but I personally think achievements / trophies, whatever you want to call them, are great. I think the Nintendo Switch should have them, and I know you disagree. So let's.
I feel like this podcast, you're just making me the enemy, anti-VR. And
Oh no 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 no
anti-achievements.
no! This is great. No, it's great having different opinions for sure.
I'm like the old man of gaming.
If we all agreed on something, it would just be all of us going, yep, that
Exactly,
works.
yeah.
I know personally on my side, I am for achievements, but I can also see how they could be. Some people wouldn't like them in their gaming, per se.
Yeah.
Like, I personally would feel like if the Nintendo Switch tomorrow said we have achievements in our online system, I would be like, woo, go Nintendo Switch, and I would probably buy it within a month. Now I know some.
So you're saying it would influence your decision to buy
Yeah.
a Switch? Okay. Jordan, I see you making
Why?
that face.
Something about even if the game possibly doesn't give everything that you want from the game, like maybe the experience wasn't that great, it gives you something to do besides the experience of the game. It's another experience outside of gaming.
Exactly. I love that you said that because I feel like achievements, like the achievement/trophy system in general, is just sort of like a cool meta game to accompany any other
Yeah.
game on the system. You know.
Also, yeah, like I have family and friends. I'd be like, hey, you know, what trophy do you have on this game that I don't, you know? And kind of, it could even be a competition between friends and making it even more social and adding a social aspect that might not have been there for that game previously.
All right, Jordan.
My two biggest things are, one, it shouldn't be required by the developer. That limits their creativity to have those things. And two, it like tells you how you have to play the game.
I don't agree with either of those. So, the developer can tailor the achievements or whatever to be whatever they want them to
What
be.
if I have a game
the
that
game.
doesn't have like an achievable outcome? Like if it's just,
I think every game has an achievable outcome.
uh,
I mean, even it can be as simple as
is
walk
there
10
always a win-lose
walk
in
10
life?
No, it doesn't. Achievements don't have to be win-lose.
Does there need to be a?
Achievements, a lot of achievements are Easter egg based, right? So like if you
Yeah.
uncover some secret or you do some little thing, an achievement pops and kind of gives you a little reward for discovering it.
But instead of playing the game, people are going to be constantly looking for these.
but that's okay. So
Easter
that's the
eggs.
other thing. I mean, as far as I know, on PlayStation, you can turn off notifications for achievements. I'm sure you can do the same thing on Xbox. So if you don't want that thing in your game, you can just pretend it doesn't exist, never look at the trophy achievement list, and just go about your business playing however you want to play, right?
I know me.
So where's
yeah.
the harm?
Yeah, I know me personally. Like I will achievement hunt, but I don't achievement hunt until I have finished the game. So like achievements during the game are more like little surprises, and maybe even like sometimes I'll be like, oh wow, that was an achievement. Why was that an achievement? Or oh wow, that was an achievement. You know, I found something that maybe not everyone else has.
This also adds development cost. You got to translate all those achievements to how many different languages you have. If it's a PC game, you wouldn't have to have those achievements, so you might not have even thought of them when you were designing the game, and it could just change the way it's played. I mean, Minecraft, playing it on PC versus on Xbox with the achievements, I approached it differently both ways.
But my point is, if the achievements weren't popping up, would they impact the way you played? It'd be the exact
So
same
you're
as the
saying
PC
they
experience.
should just hide it, but still the developers know they're there and they still have to put them in.
Okay, so you're talking more from a developer standpoint, how it might inhibit them.
I could argue both, but yeah.
Okay, I
Let's stick
suppose
to
I could
that.
see that. I just don't think it's that big of a deal to count as a negative, you know, if they spend some extra time and resources creating achievements for their game, you know?
You're not paying their bills either.
Fair enough. I will personally say, though, I have done disgusting things in the name of achievements before. Like, I've done shameful things for achievements. And I know you're on the polar opposite end of that, where sometimes you don't even play a game because you don't want it to add to your, what is it?
My backlog, or
your record. or
my
whatever.
record, my percentage, my completion
You know,
percentage.
you can
yes.
customize that on PlayStation now, right? You can remove 0%.
You can on PS3.
Oh, well.
Sorry, I'm still last gen,
Yeah.
but
Oh my gosh. I don't know. Like some experiences though, I do agree. Like maybe a game I recently played a game that didn't even seem like it had an outcome. And if there was an achievement like, oh, you beat the game, then I would probably have to search why have I not gotten this achievement? I've played this game, you know. And I can see it in a way. Sometimes you do lose the surprise of something. For instance, if you skim through the achievements list real quick and you're like, oh, there's an achievement for killing blah blah blah, then you know that at one point in time you might be killing, you know, main character off or something like that.
In my experience, though, that on PlayStation at least, they do hidden trophies, right? Like hidden achievements. So, like, for spoiler-sensitive things, they kind of gray them out, right? So you can't look at the requirements for getting that trophy, which I think is a smart way of avoiding what you were discussing.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm speaking more on the end of a PC player. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I think
Also, I know this is extreme, but I think it could also fuel, for some people, the addiction is, you know, you have to collect everything. Not just achievements. I understand there's other parts of games that could be addicting, but it certainly adds fuel to the fire.
Yeah, I could see, like, an OCD individual that has to, like, maybe a perfectionist or something that has to complete every single part of a game.
Mm-hmm. And
Yeah,
it
like
makes people think that
An
way,
absurd achievement list could definitely, you know, kind of negatively impact your life.
though. Yeah.
There could be on the other end a game that might not have enough achievements to a person. They might not even consider buying it.
I've done that many times. I will say that I'm very guilty of that.
I know.
Sometimes I look at a game and I'm like, this looks cool. Oh, it doesn't have a platinum trophy? It's not worth my time, which is a horrible thing to say. So I guess in that sense, Jordan, you're right in that achievements have affected how I look at games.
It does. And like
before I
Grand
even
Theft
play
Auto
them.
5, I've completed the whole story, and I've only gotten like 18% of the trophy, and I've put so many hours into that, so I feel like I'm underachieving as well.
I feel demoralized.
Demoralized, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, even myself, I see something on sale and I go, wow, you know, this looks interesting. Oh, you have 0 achievements? Well, you know, maybe I should buy you, but at the same time, like, is there anything to the game even?
Right. So I think the moral of the story here is to not judge a game by its
Its
achievements.
And also, there's no way to make the system equal. So I remember whenever I was in high school, and Kinect just came out, and all my friends would compete for the highest gamer score at that time. And I was able to get ahead just because I was able to get a bunch of super easy Kinect games
Right.
and boost that.
Yeah, I think Xbox actually, when the Xbox One came out, they started a thing where you would get achievements for just like opening certain apps and
Yeah.
like doing things like that. That's kind of I don't agree with that. I think achievements should be strictly tied to game accomplishments.
Yeah.
But I do have to hand it to Microsoft. They saw, you know, dollar signs and they kind of went after it. It's like, we can make money this way. I know a recent PS4 exclusive that came out, Nier Automata, actually has a system where you can use in-game currency to buy trophies, which I think is the first time ever that this sort of thing has happened. And I wonder if it's going to set sort of a precedent going forward.
So does that mean you can't complete that game's set of trophies or achievements without buying?
No, you can, but I guess, I mean, I haven't looked too much into it, but I would assume that some of the trophies are kind of tedious, so if you'd rather just purchase it with in-game currency, then you can do that. I don't think it's microtransactions, as in, like, I don't think it's real money. I think it's actually in-game money spent on trophies, which is, you know, it's strange. It's strange and it's not harmful, but it has the potential to become something harmful,
I
I
was
think,
about to
if
say,
people take it to the next level.
If you added microtransactions to getting achievements,
That would break the whole system, and then I would be done.
yeah, I wouldn't even look at a game with an achievement like that. And that would be in the other side. If I found a game where it's like, oh, you can earn this achievement, just pay $29.99.
Yeah, no, that's...
See, that sounds like a profitable move to me.
It is a profitable
all those
move,
addicts.
you heartless business monster. No, it is a profitable move for sure, but is it worth breaking the entire system over, you know?
Well, it's already broken.
It's breaking the... No, I don't agree that it's already broken.
I could just get all the Kinect games and have a higher gamer score on Xbox than you.
Hey, if that's how you
If
want
you
to
just play
spend
all
your...
your
If that's
shooters.
how you want to spend your gaming time, then more power to you, you know? But I think trophies / achievements are in a healthy place right now where if you're not obsessive compulsive and if you're not, you know, if that sort of thing doesn't bother you, then they serve as a nice complement to the game you're playing. And if that sort of thing bothers you, you can turn off all notifications and just it doesn't exist, within the context of that experience.
I agree it's good to have them, but I still don't think they should be required by anybody. That's
On the developer side?
yes.
Okay. Yeah.
I can also agree with that. I think they're great for games, but at the same time, if a developer's like, I don't really want to have any achievements in my game, then they shouldn't be required.
Right. I think I kind of agree with you on that. It is strange that they are. Are they actually required?
Yes.
I don't think I've ever seen a PlayStation game without trophies.
The commercial ones are. I'm not
Mhm.
sure. The downloadable ones, on PS3 they didn't used to be required, but I think on PS4 they are.
Yeah. That is a strange sort of move. I guess Sony, they must see like the inherent profit in having achievements.
Yeah, and if that's power to them, I think you shared a study that it's more profitable for them to have the trophies or achievements in there or something. It made people buy it more or something, and that's, if that's one thing you do for marketing and to increase your sales, then, you do that. That's a design decision, though, that the developer would make.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is sort of, I do see where you're coming from, though, where it is like, if you have to do this, that's just sort of a thing in the back of your head is like, okay, I should have complete.
That's like telling
Creative
me like
freedom.
there has to
This,
be a
yeah.
winning condition in my game, and
Yeah.
it might be an artistic piece that I don't have.
I mean, artistic pieces.
An avant-garde piece.
Even artistic pieces sometimes have an achievement, and it might not even be an achievement of beating the game. It might be a sense of completion, or possibly even you've made sense of it, or you haven't made sense of it. If you take, I'm trying to think of a good example.
I think
of that.
they even have quality control with the trophies now too. Like
I-
I would love to just have
don't
my
think they
game
do.
have like because there's never been a company that just gave a platinum for starting the game. Like if I hated trophies
Have
that
you
bad, I would
heard
want
have
to
you
do
heard
that.
of My Name is Mayo?
Does it really do that?
Okay, so My Name is Mayo is a 99-cent
I
game.
love Mayo. I know exactly what
But
game
does
you're
it have a
talking
platinum?
about.
Do you know the game? Okay, yeah.
I know what the
it has
game
a
is.
platinum. Where you just tap a jar of mayo for about like 20 to 30 minutes, like nothing else. That is the entire game, and you get a platinum out of it. I will shamefully say that I've purchased said game and platinumed.
The game though is hilarious.
Well,
if
for
you play through it.
$2.99, you'd be crazy not to.
It's 99
said?
cents.
It's 99
yeah.
Oh, 99 cents. Yeah, you'd be crazy not to.
So yeah, the developer made a quick buck. It was obviously a really easy game to make, but I do
And
feel
I'm sure the trophies helped with sales for that.
Yeah, no, that was the entire point of the game. If they didn't have trophies, who would buy this game where you just tap mayo for no reason?
So
But
we're
no,
reduced to
they're-
making these easy trophy games.
Yeah, but that's the other side of the spectrum. I hope we don't get more developers doing that. I don't feel proud of that platinum, obviously. I just saw that and was just like, well, I got nothing else to do for the next half an hour, and I want to boost my score. But I definitely don't want to see that being a trend going forward.
That game, though, if you actually played it, it's
There's a
not
weird
just,
story
yeah.
behind
There's a huge story behind.
There are actually several storylines that I just completely ignored because this is a game about tapping a jar of mayo.
I mean, you
but-
could go into the deep depths of Mayo for that. But yeah,
Yeah,
no,
I mean,
see.
minimum effort was expended on this. There was some effort was expended, but
It's the way it controls you. Like I might have a 100-game backlog, but I think my completion percentage is higher than you.
Oh, I believe it. Yeah. But that's more important to you than having more trophies, which is more important to me. So it's to
Shouldn't
each,
even be
to
important
each
to
their
me at all.
own,
That's
you
why
know?
I'm happy just Nintendo just never introducing this option would be better, because then people are just going to play their games for the fun of it.
That's a kind of. I'm surprised they did not do it because I was sure they would do it.
I was
They have
almost
no
positive as
online. They
well.
have, I mean, that's extreme. I mean, they don't have as much effort into their online as everybody else. So
I mean,
really,
but it seems like they're putting that effort into the
it's
online
still. I think it's
infrastructure.
bad in
like,
2017. It's still
Oh, yeah.
rumors that they're going
Exactly,
to tie
yeah.
games to accounts.
Right, that's terrible. But the fact of the matter that later this year we're getting dedicated online and subscription for service that lets you rent a game a month, which is absurd. That can be another topic some other time.
Game renting is great. I think PlayStation's making a lot of money off.
Oh no, but like renting. PlayStation gives you games.
I was supposed to say Xbox
Right.
does too.
Yeah, and so does Xbox. I mean, Nintendo's like, here's a game that you can play for a few weeks, and then we want that back. Thanks. It's just like, what are you doing?
And plus, it's
But-
from their huge back catalog.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy. But
Another topic.
another topic. Well, yeah, I think that's a kind of good place to wrap it up. We didn't change any minds here, but I think we had a good, we had a
Discussion.
open discussion about achievements. Yeah, so this has been episode 2 of Game Talk. We haven't actually recorded episode 1 yet, sort of behind the scenes look. But my name is Amit. Jordan, where can people find you on social media and that sort of thing?
At Jordan Hallow on Twitter.
I don't have a fancy Twitter handle, but it's at Liety.
And I abstain from social media because I'm very asocial. And on that note, we'll see you next week. Bye.